try and top up. They'll do the same thing for data. So you've bought data, and then your data has run out, and then it starts going to using your airtime.
Yeah.
You're not told to not use airtime. So it just finishes. You again go and top up. And we looked and saw, you're actually spending a lot more money in a month. So why don't we come up with an all-in-one package and say, you buy this for 30 days, it gives you that peace of mind.
Yep.
Because they also notice that at some point, when somebody is about to top up, they realize I wanted to top up, I needed to go to M-Pesa. My M-Pesa balance is not sufficient for the kind of money that I wanted to buy to top up. So I have to now again go to the bank. Going to the bank, I need a USSD code. USSD code needs some data. Some balance.
Yeah.
I didn't have that balance, so now I can't go to M-Pesa to. So they were like, Safaricom decided, let's make this thing easier for our customers. Okay? Just do 2,000 bob, 30 days. 1,000 bob, 30 days. 500 bob, 30 days. Just choose the bundle that works for you. All in one. Yeah?
It works.
Lest we forget, Masengeli is reporting to office today as the Deputy Inspector General of the National Police in charge of Administration Police. He went to court the other day and he said, Aki, Your Honor, Aki, I'm sorry. Aki, my lord. You know, me, I was busy. Aki, my lord. And the lordship called Justice Mugambi, looked and said, this man is genuinely remorseful.
Surely it is within the time that we had even given him to
There's
court.
no need to punish this man. Let's just forgive him. Let's set aside. There have been reactions to that. and my immediate reaction to it was, okay. It started with when Judge Mugambi said, I sentence this officer to jail, but I give him 7 days to come. That already was so why
You
you
already
doing
opened the door for the thing to be, closed.
Guy goes not day 1, not day 2, not day 3, not day 4. Day 6 is when he starts going to court, and day 7 is when he starts appearing in court and saying, by the way, you know me, I'm sorry, I was busy.
Why do we constantly trample on the very thought or the very imagination that justice in Kenya is justice for all? Why?
Because of such things.
There's such things.
Yeah.
And just like that, the whole country was wrapped in this whole thing for the last 2 weeks. And just like that, with a judgment given and a recusal then given, in 10 minutes, the whole thing has been forgotten. And then we started talking about Mount Kenya.
Yeah. There'll be those very many arguments that, this is, the course of justice. This happens in justice. This happens in court. This can happen. It's within, when it comes to contempt of court, it's within the court's, purview to determine how it wants to punish somebody or even how it wants to pardon somebody. The point is, the issue that was coming to the very fore here was about impunity. That's it. That a DIG, acting IG of police, is told, come to court, doesn't go. First, come again tomorrow, doesn't go. 7 times, doesn't go. Is found guilty of contempt of court.
Is
told,
sentenced.
come, appear here when we are sentencing you. Even on the day of the sentencing, doesn't go. He's given days. And then he appears on the last day and he's pardoned.
You have to ask if justice is preferential.
This is impunity.
If justice is preferential, depending on what your rank is in society, or are you just looking at somebody as a Kenyan from beginning to end?
Yeah.
Because on the same day, somebody who did something which one would even consider a lesser evil, if you can, that the wheels of justice ground very hard and very fast for that other individual.
Yeah.
And so you have to ask the question. You do.
I think it just goes back to the judiciary. Is the judiciary supporting or promoting impunity?
Is the judiciary an agent of justice?
Or impunity? Our guest is here. He's seated. He is.
How are you guys?
Very well. How are you, Governor?
Salama, long time.
Very long time.
Very
Very
nice to
long
be
time.
here.
Are you keeping well?
Very well.
Uko salama.
Tuko salama, tunajaribu.
Wapi ndugu yetu?
Mzee has taken a couple of days.
Oh.
He's decided, you know what, I need some time to recharge my batteries. And we told him, yes.
Hey, lucky you.
Hey, we told him, yeah.
You guys can get a break.
Yeah. you go take a break. You haven't taken a break?
How? It is difficult.
Yeah.
You cannot. These are 24 7,365 kind of job.
Is it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And especially Nairobi.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it shortly.
Asante.
Let me welcome you with the proverb courtesy of CT. The proverbs for this week are from Senegal. Have you been to Senegal, Governor?
I've not, incidentally.
You should.
But yeah, I should.
Yes.
The mayor of Dakar is a good friend. It's called Bartholomew Diaz, and he always tells me, "Man, Kuja, come."
It's called Batimayo.
He's actually coming to Nairobi on the 1st of October. I have 14 mayors from across the continent on an African mayoral program. So what are the Senegal
Days, I'll give you all the 7 proverbs for the week. So,
What do you mean?
but let's start with today's proverb. Today's proverb says, let me open it. It is better to travel alone than with a bad companion.
That is very true. I don't know how you chose that proverb.
Context. Huh?
Pure coincidence.
It speaks to a lot of things.
It is better to travel alone than with a bad companion.
Yeah, that is true.
What do you think? Yes,
Sometimes we look for comfort with people, yet they pull you down. And because you're afraid of being lonely or being alone, you hang on to it, yet it's not helping you make progress in life. In many contexts.
They're not adding value.
They're not, actually, they're pulling you
They're
back.
actually extracting.
Yeah, so you'd rather tembea peke yako. Yeah.
In all aspects of life.
In all aspects of
Think
life.
about it.
Yeah.
Whether you're on a journey,
Yeah.
whether you're
Whether it's
working,
friends,
whether
whether
you're
it's
in
at
a
work.
relationship, think about it.
In all of them.
Government.
Government,
Whatever it
whether
is.
you're the governor of Nairobi.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, impeach. Okay, Governor. There have been issues in Nairobi recently.
Yes.
And, it was last week, was it last week, but one? Yes, when we were looking at traffic in the morning.
Yeah.
And we saw that Haile Selassie Avenue had been closed around Okulima Market. And we saw it's because traders there were not happy, were not a happy lot. What's the story here with Okulima Market?
Thank you. Wakulima Market is one of the markets you have in the city, possibly one of the more important ones because of the nature of trade. It's a wholesale market, and a lot of what you get from other markets come from there. That's the point. It all comes in from across the country, and it has exceeded its capacity. And so you now have a situation, or you had a situation because we sorted it out, where you have a lot of trucks on the road. You have women selling on the road. And you remember what happened last year? We lost 52 women in Londiani, Kericho.
Yeah.
In a similar, kind of setup, right on the road. And so we engaged these traders. We spoke to them. My departments did, and I also spoke to them. They're people we know. The people we know for many years, and told them, look, let's decongest this place because it causes a lot of traffic. People have to walk on the road, and it's not what it's supposed to be. The capacity of the market was 1,200 traders and 92 parking slots for wholesalers because they sell off their trucks. Today you'll find 300 trucks. You'll find traders have gone up almost 5,000. And so that is why we've been expanding markets. It is not the fault of those traders or those women on the road. It is actually the lack of markets by government. And that's why we said, even when we got in, that we shall build markets, we shall complete stalled markets. And we've completed them. And so once you've built this market with taxpayers' money, Kangundo Road Market is a huge market with capacity. It has space for more than 400 trucks. Wholesale, it has a weighbridge where it's easier to assess the trucks that are coming in. It is very accessible.
Where is it exactly?
It's right on Kangun Road, as you're going towards Kayole. Right on Kangun Road, just before Mama Lucy Hospital. After the turn off to Umoja. It's a beautiful market. Costs around 860-something million, 868 million shillings. It was built over time. We completed it when we got into office. And so we're saying, look, some of the selected produce, and no one is trying to move a market, because I had very baseless propaganda that the market wants to be fully, relocated, or somebody wants to sell this market. There are no such plans. And so we are moving selected produce in terms of the wholesale aspect of it. And we will not have people selling on the road. That one
Okay.
we will not have. Yeah.
Wakulima is meant to be a wholesale market.
Yes.
At what point did it become a retail market?
Over the years, it became both wholesale and retail just because of disorder, and people cutting shortcuts. That, yes, instead of wholesale, I can also buy 2 nyanyas here or bitungu. And that brings a lot of disorganization, And so we want to retain it as it should be. Let it serve the other markets in the city. But beyond a certain number of trucks, beyond a certain number of traders, they will apply their trade from Kangundo Road. We've also built another one, or rather it's going on in Mutuini. And look at Mutuini is on the bypass as well. Now the other bypass, must be the southern bypass. It's going to be a huge market. We're spending less on it, 245 million, because we've changed how we design our markets. So I think some of the markets built were malls, not markets. And you find traders don't want to go in there. No one is going to go to the 3rd floor to buy onions, to go cook that evening. And so we're having more of just open space, cold storage facilities, proper parking, water, electricity. That is what we're looking at. And that's why we're spending much less per market now. We're building 20 of them. Already we've broken ground in around 4 or 5. Kahawa West, there's Juju Market ongoing. There's Ruai that is coming up. There's Mutuini, there is Karen Market. If you go to Karen, there was a huge mess, the roundabout for a long time. And now it's sorted. We've moved the machatus to, there's a temporary site that we have along the road. And the traders are willing to go into the market. So sometimes you find that you've made progress. People have accepted, yes, this makes sense. We will do better business when there is order. And then politicians say, jump on this, let's incite people. And we said, look, we will not pander to the whims of political expediency at the expense of security of the people, safety, traffic, just good order. We promised a city of order, and that's what we must have.
So I think that's one of the things that every time, I think ever since we saw from the beginning of your administration, when there was an attempt to have some kind of order brought into the city, it was always met with what many would say was a political backlash. Whether it's moving traders from within the city, this whole Moy Avenue thing, whether it is getting people to move. Why?
I think it's just myopic politics. Because in many of these instances, and I've given it time, just to listen, and now, enough is enough. We're going to do what must be done. The matatus, for instance, we had agreed with them. They were very happy, actually, most of them, especially those plying Uhuru Highway going down Wayaki Way to Western, Nyanza, Kisii. And they found Green Park is actually very good. It's a good design. And then we provided shuttles from Kenya Railway, so that when you alight from there, it just does a loop inside town, goes to Kencom, comes back. The passengers were saying, this is better. Some of the places we were alighting at Tirum, Unashuka, the Kanjo think you're also a tout, you're touting, your luggage is taken, somebody pulls it. But then after making that progress, we were pulled back. And in as much as it's operating, we've been observing, yes, it is true there is a triad, of trade, where you have a terminus, you also will have some business going on, some hawking. If you go to Nyamakima, you'll find some people don't even travel. They just call the shop. They say, Nieke, my cereals into that matter to come into Nyeri, and it'll bring, There's a dynamic that you must have, but there must be order. The city has grown. When some of these facilities were built, if you look at, population of 2002 was 2 million Nairobians. Now we are 7 million during the day and 5 at night, And so we must move with those times and just have our capital. This is a global hub, We must have it representative of what Nairobi must be.
The question, though, is, are we doing this knee-jerk reactions, or are we doing this within a long-term plan?
It's within
There have been plans that, we haven't really actualized the plan in Nairobi. But for example, the new plan and all, what was the plan saying about access to produce in Nairobi, bringing produce in Nairobi. How many markets should Nairobi have?
Yeah.
And how far apart should they be? That is wholesale markets. How do you move from wholesale into retail? How does it move all the way from retail into neighborhood markets?
Precisely.
What's the plan?
There have been many attempts towards planning of the city. Over the years, if I'm to go to the history from the 1924 Master Plan 48, the last one was 76, because the new plan really set the foundation of now specific
Another
local
plan.
area plans. So it's a foundation, and because of that, many things fell off, whether it is water, whether it is trade, whether it is traffic, the loops that were missing. And so, yes, while it speaks broadly, about those aspects, now is when we're actually doing the real plan for the city, with the Nairobi Vision 2050. And, as we set up that task force, we'll have people from all, all stakeholders, architects, traders, resident associations, to come down with us for a year-long program, I've gone through all of those that were there before. There was the Nairobi Want conference. But the city has just been, hurtling along, without physical plans for, local areas. There was an attempt during the NMS time. They actually tendered, but I think they ran out of money, so they couldn't do it. Now, what we've been able to do, we've secured $60 million from the Millennium Challenge Corporation. That's a congressional fund in the US. And a lot of that is going to come towards proper physical planning, urban planning for the city. And then it's a threshold program at $60 million. That's a fee big. And then it translates into what we call now a compact program of around $700 to $800 million to implement what that plan is. So Nairobi 2050 will be anchored on that MCC. But even as that goes on, life moves day by day. You can actually see that, look, we can't just wait for that annual process and we're losing money, we're losing resources. Let's act now. And so that's why we said let's build 20 more markets. Let's even partner with the private sector. You can actually build a market of this nature in this place and collect rent from it. It doesn't all have to be the city doing it. And we're getting very, very good responses. If you look at water, for instance, Eric, the last water source for Nairobi was built in 1997, from 1994 to 1997, targeting a population of 2002, which was 2 million Nairobians. The first one was 1906 to 1910, Kikuyu Springs. That one gives us 6,000 cubic meters. The second one, 1928, again colonial, that is Ruiru Dam. The third one was 1958, Ndakaine, which gives us 60 million liters a day. And then finally, that was Sasumwa in Nyandarua, gives us 60 million liters a day. Then finally, from 1994 to 97, Ndakaine. So what happens? You have a quantity of water that comes into the city, 525.6 million liters daily, yet you require 970 thereabout. And it grows by 4%. And so when you got into office, you said, look, we can't go on this same way. There had been the Northern Collector Tunnel, which was stalled for a long time because of just way leaves, people along the line. And I'm very grateful. I looked for President William Ruto. I told him, please, we need this. You live in Nairobi. All of us live in this city. Let's get some resources. We got money through NLC. We paid. And now I'm very happy to announce that 140 million liters of water will be coming into the city daily. 140 million liters extra. Within the next few days. In fact, what we're doing now is the final connection between Gigiri, our reservoir, and Kigoro, the new treatment plant that brings in that water. But even as we do that now, we must plant the next 1 million liters. Let's not wait again for the population to go up.
Because 140 is still less than half the deficit.
So there's 140 from Northern Collector. Then Karimenu brings in another 70 million liters. 50 is supposed to go to Ruiru. But fortunate for Nairobians, Ruiru is not ready to receive it. They don't have the infrastructure yet. And so a lot of that is going to come into to the city. We've also secured funding for this by Korea for Northern Collector 2 and Maragua 4. Those add to 20 million liters. So within the next 2-3 years, we can actually solve that deficit. Our engineers are very creative at Nairobi Water. They found out that, look, there's a system at Ngedu treatment. We call it a backwash system in the filtration of water that we lose 30 million liters daily. And so they're engineering that and you'll have now half of Sasumo coming into the, half of the quantity of Sasumo, 60 million, now 30 million coming in. So all of this is happening. And while it's happening, we are talking about technology, SCADA technology. How do we see where water has been infiltrated? Just down the road here, I went once. We were doing something with what we call the water police. A lady has a kiosk. Looks like a kiosk from outside. But you come inside, you go underground. It's a pumping station. She has 16 pumps providing water from our line to flats. Yeah. She's metered them. She's providing water and electricity. She's Kenya Power and Nairobi Water at one. A lot of these illegal connections. Right now, Langata is starting to get water because the line that used to go through Kibra had been infiltrated. We've had to concretize it. So now you can start getting water there. And of course, now we give the people of Kibra water properly. So all this is happening, yes, Eric. The planning is going on, but we have to keep sorting out these problems day by day. A lot of how the city was running cannot hold anymore. Look at issues of solid waste management. We can't use the same model that we've been having from before. We are setting up now Nairobi Solid Waste Management Company that is almost like Nairobi Water, a standalone company that has, because there are three aspects to it. There is human resource. You need staff. I've had 3,500 youth in the last 2 years in what we call the Green Army. Number two is equipment. You need the trucks. When I was a kid, I remember every Monday, it used to be Tuesday and Saturday, the Camero used to come and we were being given bins by the city, NCC. And within the water bill, there was a garbage cost. Yeah. And you knew, like clockwork. But you see, that got lost because, again, biashara, contractors for garbage want to, and it's a billion shilling business. So we're moving from that to now back to a company standalone that has its money ring fenced. Because you can imagine, like now, those young people collecting the garbage every day, putting it by the road, but the trucks then have
there's no
fuel.
trucks to come and collect.
Yeah.
So I hear you saying that there's a lot that had gone wrong with the city
over the years.
Yeah. So there's a need to correct that wrong.
Yes.
While at the same time maintain some kind of order.
Yes.
With
when planned for the future.
Exactly, with the hope to develop for the future.
Yes. You must do that.
Is this something that was seen or unseen by you before?
No, it was seen as something I knew. I was a member of parliament in Nairobi. I've been the senator of the city. And especially the Senate gives you a good view of what's happening and what's not happening. And so when you get in the first few months, you must set up government. You must understand now deeper dynamics. It's always different when you look from outside. And they say you campaign in poetry, you govern in prose. And so now you see and you try things and your programs start coming alive. And I'm very proud that in the last 2 years we've achieved many things. If we have time, we'll go into that. And so now is when we're moving into that now. Full replanning while things are happening. Kids are eating food in school. We've built kitchens. We've built ECD centers. There's a lot that's happening, but still you plan forward. And so that's what we're saying. We will not allow anyone to take us back to the problems we had, because the problems we had in Nairobi were because of political expediency. After 1992, when the ruling party lost grip of Nairobi, it was just went south.
It was downhill from there.
It was just downhill because multipartism came. President Moi lost control of Nairobi. The councillors, the Kajoras, you remember those guys? A lot of the land we're recovering now. Because I found so many parcels of land. I issued titles.
I want us to take a break. We'll come back and continue. But before we take a break, now that you mentioned the Cameros, the last time you were here, you said that by, I think, October last year, would have those compactor garbage trucks on the roads.
We bought them, but they're not enough. So we bought 24 tippers. We have another 24 refuse compactors. I'll show you photos. We're just concluding that transaction.
Are they on the road? Are they in operation?
Not yet. But we have them. We bought them. Yeah, I should flag them off anytime.
So it's a year later.
Yeah, because they were being fabricated in Turkey. That we don't have that capacity here. But it's Isuzu that we engaged, and they finally completed it. I need to pay them around 215 million in the next, as soon as we get money. Remember, it's the first quarter of a financial year. No county has received a shilling in 3 months, and so there's also that dynamic. Yeah.
26 minutes to 8. Our guest this morning is the governor of the Nairobi City County Government, Sakaja Arthur Johnson.
Yes. I like how you say it.
We'll be back shortly.
This is the Situation Room